Hi, this is Alcan. Welcome back to my channel. Well, as you know, we had an election on Tuesday, President of the United States. Trump versus Harris, and Trump won. We also have races in the U.S. Senate and the houses, and there's also local races. And interesting thing is, George Soros, who this individual billionaire, whatever the heck he has an organization. He decides to put money into these races for DA, and we call these folks the George Soros DA portfolio, because a lot of these people are running on George Soros' money to get elected, and unfortunately, they like to be soft on crime and putting progressive policies in place that's causing upheaval in multiple cities from coast to coast. And recently, two of the people that he supported got kicked out of office. I just thought that George Gascőn was the only one that got kicked out, but it turns out that in Alameda County in Oakland, Pamala Price got kicked out. Isn't that a shame? As well, it was a recall for her. It was regular election for George Gascőn, and it happened in George Gascőn's case before he had a chance to try to get to free the Melendez brothers, who has been in prison since the late 80s, early 90s. And the new DA is going to have to look into that, so they may not be home for Thanksgiving. But that's a different subject for another day. But let me tell you what happened here. This is an interesting story. But Boss says Americans had enough. The end of the George Soros DA. We hope so, but there's still a lot of them out there. Let's see. This is by Israel Duro. So George Gascőn, LA DA, and Pamala Price, Alameda County, Oakland, two of the hungry businessmen, latest district attorneys to lose their positions due to their soft on crime policies and the explosion of crime in their jurisdictions. People just had enough. They had a joke about so many places were being robbed in L.A. that the only one they didn't rob was Sean Diddy Combs' place. Wonder why. Well, radical left-wing businessman George Soros' achievement significant success in getting several progressives into important positions as district attorneys with the invaluable help of his money. His legacy on soft on crime policies and political persecution of rivals had worn out the patience of his citizens, who last Tuesday election had enough. Enough is enough. George Gascőn, one of the most radical, fell in Los Angeles as Pamala Price ousted in Alameda County by popular vote. The policies of both got voters in both parties clamoring for their departure. So it's not just Republicans and Democrats too. In case of Price, the first DA to be recalled in Alameda County's history, the motion for her dismissal just 2 years into her 6-year term was backed by 2/3 of the voters. Gascőn lost to a candidate who promotes a far stricter stance on crime. Those are the latest names, but not the first. During the last term, several were dismissed for dismal records and fight against crime. For example, Monique Warrillo of Orlando, Florida, who received $1.8 million from the Hungry American maggot. Yes, I said that on purpose. was ousted by Governor Ron DeSantis, who accused her of a dereliction of duty. Excuse me. The Florida Supreme Court upheld the governor's decision against the district attorney for facilitating murders, other violent crimes, and dangerous drug dealers to receive extreme reduced sentences and escape all consequences of their criminal conduct. Earlier, Soros-backed Massachusetts U.S. Attorney Rachel Rawlings resigned after being accused by the Department of Justice itself of partisan conduct and malfeasance. The report by the Department of Justice, the DOJ, Office of Inspector General accused Rawlings of participating in Democratic Party events, abusing her powers, ignoring the DOJ gifts and travel policies, and especially leaking internal DOJ information to journalists to favor the candidate she endorsed for Boston District Attorney. Also forced out of office was Kim Gardner, my favorite target. One of the first candidates to receive Soros' financial backing. The St. Louis Circuit Attorney resigned her post with a statement accusing outsiders of calling for her termination. Those outsiders were Republican and Democratic politicians who demanded information from her about the way she was running her kingdom. Her farewell, in fact, came after Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey announces that he was initiating impeachment proceedings against her for neglect of duty. Unfortunately, what really broke the camel's back in that situation was there was an incident where somebody kept breaking the law, and he was supposed to be home with a monitor ankle bracelet. He did what he wanted to do. I don't know if he cut it off or whatever. He got into a car where he shouldn't have, caused an accident, and injured a volleyball player. She'll end up losing both her legs. And that outrage is what forced her out. And then she's blaming outside influence. You screwed up. See, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives impeached Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Kushner in 2022. But despite the loss, Kushner managed to stay in office by dragging out the case with appeals until September 2024, almost on the eve of the election, as the state Supreme Court concluded that the articles of impeachment had become null and void at the conclusion of the term. The Republican Party then controlled the House, but at the time of running, the majority was Democrat. Indeed, most of Soros-backed district attorneys are the eye of the hurricane for their soft and crime policies or their treatment of political rivals. Yes, that includes Alan Braggs, Letitia James in New York. It is no coincidence that a number of places with high crime rates are in the hands of these attorneys, nor can it be forgotten that, like I said before, Alan Braggs, Manhattan District Attorney, who got Trump convicted, also had money from the Hungarian businessman. Money from his pockets. And that's about it. But that situation presents a unique problem. See, when Braggs took this case, he thought he was going to have an easy time convicting Trump. Only as the Supreme Court came in and says, some of the stuff that he did when he was in office is immune. Oops. So he was supposed to be sentenced on July 13, but where was he in July 13 instead? He delayed it. He was in Butler, PA, and he made history, unfortunately. Almost got killed by a bullet, but unfortunately a firefighter was killed protecting his family from bullets, and 2 other people were seriously injured. They recovered. And since then, he got more and more popular by the convictions, by the assassinations attempts, by all the smearing. He ends up being President of the United States, again, number 47. And yes, he has his 34 felonies, but the idea of trying to assume to be president of the United States behind bars is not a great idea. Now I know you're saying, but wasn't there a situation where somebody who's been in jail or something ended up being president later on? Nelson Mandela? So, yeah, Nelson Mandela and Trump had a connection. And he doesn't like to talk about it. He did something nice for him. It's kind of ironic. Right now, Alan Braggs is trying to convict a Daniel Penny, who had an incident with a homeless person on the subway. You know, the crime is out of control in New York City, and part of it's because of Alan Braggs himself. He doesn't want to go after fare beaters. He's so soft on crime. He let some migrants that beat up some police out, despite the fact there was a videotape of the incident. He said, "Oh, there's not enough evidence." Caused an uproar. Now they're trying to get these people back. But meanwhile, it led to another problem, another incident, because some nitwit with a gun went to the gate without paying, get on the train. Then he sees somebody on the train. He thinks it's one of the migrants that beat up the police, starts World War III on the freaking train. And the guy he tried to, whatever he was trying to do to him, ended up beating the crap out of him. And then when he wasn't satisfied, tried to take a gun and shoot him. Only the victim managed to grab the assailant's gun and shoots him with his own gun. I blame Alan Braggs for this, because none of this would have happened if he had kept the migrants locked up. Totally nuts. Anyway, this is Gascőn saying so long for now, and don't forget to stop.